got a collection of my coins here. 24 hours to 3 years. Man. It was gripping. I was fighting for my life, that's for sure. It's a powerful emotion running through me, you know? Can't believe it. So, my sobriety date is July 4th, 2019. And I was born and raised in West Virginia. And my mom raised us, me and my brother, and she did great. There was times of surviving and stuff, but she did the best she could, and she loved us unconditionally. And so my addiction took off right around 2000, and my senior year. And I drank on and off, and I started smoking weed. And then I graduated and really didn't have any direction to go. So I just got jobs and kind of just getting blown by the wind pretty much. And then I just, one thing leads to another. And pills, then crack cocaine, and then benzos. And it was just, looking back at it, I thought on the ranch there was fun times, and I would look, and none of it was fun. Zero. None of it. That was the honesty to it. I started becoming honest. And thank you guys. I love you guys. And so it was just crazy. My mom kicked me out at 18. I had nowhere to go, so I started becoming homeless and reckless. I was a danger to society and myself, and it was just crazy, and so I just go along, and every drug I took in, I liked. It all worked, and 2008, the first year when I first shot up, and it's black tar heroin, and I fell in love with it. And I had 3 drug choices. That one was number 1, and then benzos and speed. And I needed all 3 of them to function. If I had one, I was okay, but I needed all 3 of them to be there, because I was just so dependent on all 3 of them. And I was medically detoxed so many times from 2001 to 2019. So many times. Been to jail probably 7 or 8 times. Been into insane asylum when the judge said I was incompetent to stand trial. and just living homeless. I never had a bill in my name, never had an apartment, never had a gas bill, water bill, or nothing. And then I had a son at 2010. I got in drug court, and I was like 8 months sober when he was born. That was awesome. And then, I committed a felony in 2008. I robbed the mother of my children, her sister's house, went in there and took a bunch of pain pills, and the neighbor saw it and called in, and the state picked it up, and I got my felony of burglary there, and I went to drug court for it, stayed sober through that, and did 2 years probation, but failed in probation, relapsed many times in probation, and she put me in 5-10 days to dry me out. And she was like, if you can make it till January the 12th, 2012 it was, I had like 30 days. And she's like, if you can make it till that day sober, you're going to be completed. I'm like, okay. So I white knuckled it, completed it. And then I got the paper slip right in her office, and it was go time. You know, I did learn some things in drug court that helped me in my sobriety today. And then it just escalated. I had 16 months sober in 2010 to somewhere in 2011, and I had a bunch of pain pill medicines in my vacuum sweeper, just waiting. And I was still on probation. I was like, I'm going to sell these. And I was like, nah, I'm just going to take them. I took them 10 pills, and it dragged me on for 9 more years of hell. I just couldn't stop. You know, lived in homeless shelters with my kids, pushing a stroller around with groceries all tied into it. Living in homeless, and I had my daughter in 2014. And the mother of my children, she's a drug addict also. She's in recovery. God bless her heart. She's got almost 4 years. Our kids never have to see that stuff again. Good job, Sarah. I lost my rights to my kids. They took our kids away from us, and she got sober for her kids, and I couldn't. I was really selfish. And I literally, sometimes they tell me to go, they give me a collar and go drug screen, and I just wouldn't. And then sometimes I'd go drug screen just to see if the drugs was real. That's how selfish I was. Lost my rights. You know. So thank God I got a relationship with them today. But I was so homeless in 2015. This homeless coalition found me on the streets, saw me with the kids, and did a evaluation. And she was like, "Oh my God, you've been sober since 18?" I'm like, "Yeah." And so they filled a paper out, and they got me an apartment. Sarah was allowed to come. The kids were allowed to come in with it, and they just had to see us once a month. And this was 2015. My daughter was 1. My son was 4. And they gave me this apartment, and I died right there on the kitchen floor of shooting like this much in a needle. I always went first before Sarah went, and just to be safe, and I dropped. Thank God, Sarah's been there both when I died. I died in 2007 on liquid methadone and Xanaxes. My buddy went and stole a vial that they give out at methadone clinics for when holidays come. They give them enough supply so they don't have to open up. And my buddy stole a bunch of vials off someone who came up, and I just chugged it because it's so small. And he's like, what did you just do? And I'm like, just took it. He's like, it's 240 milligrams of methadone. I'm like, so? And I was already on like 20 milligrams of Xanaxes. And Sarah was like, so she had called the ambulance. By the time they got there, it's right when I just died. And so Sarah's called both. The ambulance was on me both times I died. But 2015 was, my kids were right there in front of me. And when I come to after they shot me up, thank God for Narcan. I believe I'm a supporter of Narcan. It shot me and saved my life. And I woke up, my kids were in cops' arms, and everybody was crying. And it was a nightmare. It was. And, after that, they took me down to the hospital, checked me out. I was okay. The Narcan, 2 or 3 shots they gave me. And they're like, we're done checking you out. We're good. I was like, can I use the phone? I called Sarah right there from a nurse's desk, and I was like, don't you touch my other stuff. The same stuff that just killed me. 30 minutes later. And I'm like, come back, pick me up. I'm ready. And I go back and I start measuring out the same stuff that killed me. Shooting up. Yeah. And Sarah was shooting it up while I was in the hospital. She was just measuring it out carefully. Yeah. And so the Homeless Coalition we got kicked out of that house because I overdosed, so they gave us another apartment. And then I made that kind of like a dope house. And something went wrong, and they put me in another apartment. In 2 years, they put me in like 6 different apartments. And then the last time, they gave Sarah another apartment that's in my name. They gave me one because they was trying to split us up. I mean, these people was really trying to help a person that wasn't trying to help herself yet. And then Jessica DeLong came to me one day, and she was like, I don't know what was on her heart. She's like, here's a name and number. And it said Frank Robbins and had a number. She's like, if you want help, here it is. I kept that number somewhere in an apartment that I had nothing in. And about 3 weeks later, she came over. I was like, I think I'm going to call him. And she was like, thank God. And she just kept it. She just let it in God's hands pretty much. And I called, and Frank's like, I think you're high. Why don't you call me back? And I wasn't there to talk. And then a few days later, I called him. And back up before that, the day I was like, I'm going to call him, I woke up and I just looked around, and I think it was just like as clear as day. I'm getting ready to die. My life is nothing. I'm useless. There was just a lot going on in my head at the time. And that's when I called him. And then I had to call him back. And he was like, if this guy don't show up at this certain time, call me back at this time. And I called him back, and the guy said, didn't show up, you got your bed. I was like, thank God. And I was like, Sarah, can I come up and stay at your apartment because I'm going? And she's like, yeah. I was like, I need to stay sober. And then that was the 23rd. I went up there that night and stayed at 24th, and that was my sobriety date. And I was kicking on the ground in the bathroom, fighting because I always wanted to get high so bad. And I didn't. And then 3 days later, I was like, Sarah, can you give me $20? I just want to go to 7-Eleven and get some food. She's like, nah, that ain't working. Even though how bad I wanted it, that's where it took me. And we got the plane ticket, and I flew out here. And I came up. It was a Wednesday night. Came up, and just thank God. I came in on Wednesday. It was a Wednesday night church. got in there pretty late. I was sweaty, stinky, detoxing 6 days in, and started getting relief. My mind was burned up. I was just wore out, completely spiritually lost, just gone. I just knew I needed this. And then that Sunday I sat up front right here. That was my chair at the old church, still my chair today, because I knew I needed to pay attention. And I knew I needed to be serious, because I think God brought honesty into my life. He said it's life or death. And if I didn't get sober, I'd be dead. And took it day by day and didn't know nothing, and went out of ranch and did what I was told and did my best. And just thank God for counseling sessions. Just thank God for this whole entire church family. So many people. So many people. I just felt the love from everybody. And it felt good because I was helping myself and people was helping me, and it just connected. And first year on the ranch, it was just, it was a roller coaster. My mind was burned up. Everything was getting better. Around 9 months, I was wanting to leave. The COVID hit. And then I told some of the guys out in there, and they're like, no, I've told them not to leave. They told me not to leave. It was a good buddy system. And I'm glad. It was like, at 9 months, there's something in my head like, I think I got all I can get out of here, and that was a lie. Then 3 more months, it was growing pains, emotionally, mentally, physically, all of it all in one. And I have learned about growing pains and sobriety. There's like a quit switch. You want to quit. And then I'm like, no, I'm not. Now I recognized it, and I'm not going to quit, and I just go, and there's growth. There's emotionally growth. And my second year, I went back and visited my kids for 1 month. I called him. I was like, I wasn't ready. And so they helped me get back out here. Moved in Thermopolis with Jerry and Sean. They had a basement I rented out, $500 a month. I was like, this is good. I gotta be responsible. Got a job at Patterson Construction. Worked there for like 8 months, learning there. It was good. I was just growing and growing, and paying rent on time, and it was a good start. And stayed involved in the church and stayed involved in the Bible, and grew up, and then got in a relationship, and moved down Pinedale, and I should have listened. I should have never gotten in a relationship, but also in the same time, there was a lot of growth down there. And I worked for a wireline company for 11 months and helped pay bills, and grew and saw what I was good at in a relationship and saw my weaknesses. And my weaknesses affected that relationship. Also, it was already affected at the beginning because I was dishonest in that relationship. And so I was like, okay, all these weaknesses I want to grow on. And I have grew on them. And thank God, God's just the process. I've used that's what I use, the process. It's my go-to. And so moved back here, and that's why I probably cried, because I don't fight about my addiction. It's just gone. It's just gone. The thing I'm fighting for today is like real life stuff, like keeping food in my house is probably what I'm battling right now, and I'm like, that's fine, and my work, I'm working on a rig now, and so I was like, I look back at it in my 3 years sobriety. I've worked since I got out of the program. I've had a job, except for that first month I went to West Virginia. But since I've been back, I've had a job day one, and have not got fired or haven't quit, because I've had like 65 jobs in active addiction. Yes, I could not function when I used, and so that's why I had so many jobs and stuff like that. And so I've had a job since then. I got an apartment now. I pay the bills. I got electric set up, and water bill and gas bill, and I'm just like, okay, this is when you pay it, so I just pay it. So I never had a vehicle in my life, and I got a van off Tina, and bought it. Frank said, just buy a car and it's yours. You don't have to put payments. So I listened to him on that. And I had to get insurance. I never had car insurance either. So it was simple. I called. So everything's slow because I never had a life. There's many things I've never seen. I've never seen the beach. A vacation, never been on a vacation except for if it's called a Saturday or Sunday. That's, bless my mom. She just kept us going up, and my mom was a Christian. And she texted me after I said 3 years, Mom. She goes, I used to cry so many times for you, and I believe them prayers are answered. I remember my mom coming to see me at a jailhouse and visited me, and I was like, oh, this is going to be good. And she goes, I'm glad you're in here. Whew. That went through me. I started cussing her, yelling at her. Guard knocked on the door, shut up. That hurt, but it's the truth. I'd knock on my mom's door late at night. Matt, I'm sorry, I can't let you in. Thank God I didn't have no enablers. Thank God. My brother disowned me. And I want to talk about relationships because I really think that's really the rich part is. My brother, I have a great relationship with him now. A great relationship with my mom. I always wanted someone to understand me in addiction. Now I get to understand them. And I just want to understand them. And understand where people are coming from, because it's not about me. Dying to self, what Frank preached on Sunday, that was the growth. I was like, when we talked in there, I was like, man, there's some grit about it, And that was when you said that, I was like, that's it. At dying to self, it gives you some grit. So I'm just keep doing it, and. I don't know, the desire of, I just wanted to get sober for myself. And I wrote a list there not too long ago, like what would maybe affect my sobriety. And I wrote everything down. I was like, no, I'm staying sober for me. If my mom died, my kids died, if I became really poor, if I became really rich, if life didn't go anyway, my felony, I thought it was going to get expunged. One felony, it didn't get expunged. It hurt. It just hurt because I was wanting to coach kids. There was just a lot onto that, and it was kind of like that's the gifts I have from God, and it's not even like a job. It's just something I love to do, and that hurt. And I was like, okay, God, I don't know what your will is, but here. And so he didn't get rid of the felony, and I still believe he can. I still believe he can. One felony, long time ago. I'm just going to keep doing the next right thing, keep praying, but just, I was like, okay, it's not gone, so help me walk through it, you know. And so that's it. That's my solution. I've bailed over, cried, and hurt pain, and just said, here you go, Jesus. It's at your feet. It's at the cross. And then I always hear this thing. He said, don't pick it up. Don't pick it back up. And I'm like, I'm not picking it up. Okay. You know? And then I've cried. Every time I have joy, it's just tears running down my face. And I know if it's hurt or if it's joy, because when it's joy, I'm just like, thank you, God. When it hurts, I'm like, God, take this. It's good I can recognize things today and be aware. It's just good. It's just good. You know, there's nothing pretty about growth sometimes. You know? I mean, yesterday at work, from 11 to 4, in the heat, everything was complicated. It just sucked. And then around 4 o'clock, the heat was kind of going away. We started getting in a groove, and we got everything done by 7:30. Got home like at 8. It was a long 13, 14-hour day. But looking back at it, I'm like, that wasn't a bad day. Remember detoxing in jail, feeling like you're dying? They put me in a cell to detox naked. They give me like this green thing. I wouldn't even wear it. And then come and check on me every couple hours. And I'm like, body's shaking, sweating, just, yeah. It was just, so I just thank God. I thank Frank and Karen so much. My relationship with my kids, I video chat them all the time. They were supposed to come out here. I didn't have enough money, so they didn't get to come out. So, I'm praying for them to move out here. It's safer here. It'd be way better for them to grow up here and have both lifestyles, the mother and the father's lifestyles, because they haven't seen mine yet in sobriety. And I crave that too, So, yeah, there's nothing's going, my way in a sense. But I just keep trudging, and I'm never going to get to the top of that mountain, but I'm going to have faith, and love. And I'm in a relationship now, and them weaknesses I had are strengths now, and that's what God did in a short time, because I was like, I don't want this. I remember when I was done with drugs, when I'm done with something, I'm ready just to get it done. And I swear, God takes it away. God takes it away. I'm done. And she broke her finger today, swinging on a rope out in the lake in the Ozarks. So, yeah. Just thank you guys for letting me share. I hope it's reached people, and I'm ready for supper time and go to bed.
Somebody like Matt makes it all worthwhile. And if you listen to what he was saying, it's not easy. It's hard, and you'll fight. If you're not willing to fight, you're not going to make it. And I don't care if you're just trying to grow as a child of God in this world. Satan is going to step out in front of you and be in your way the whole way. And if you're easy, he knows it. He's going to push you over. But if you're hard and you're not going to give up, he'll finally leave you alone because you're too much trouble. And you just got to get into that point. Now, he's going to always be there, but yet you never quit fighting, and you know that. You got to keep fighting. And he's a lion seeking who he might devour. And Matt had no hope in reality. You know, I mean, he was a lost boy there, and God led him here. And it was a boy that works for the Game and Fish. Was it his sister or his cousin? Worked for Game and Fish and was working on the grizzly bear thing up there on the mountain, and he knew about what we did, and he had told his cousin, Jessica. There you go. And so, God, I figure it out. You just get your heart right, and that's what Matt had. His heart got right, and he hit his bottom, and he said he's had enough. And I think that's what everybody in this room's got to do. You got to get to that place. And when you're there and you're trusting only in him, then he says, all right, let's go to work, and we'll get it done. God will help you get there. Thank you for being here tonight. Matt, I appreciated that. It was worth every bit of it, right? Amen. Amen. And you didn't go as quite as long as you said you was going to go. You had 10 more minutes. Anyway, thank you for being here tonight. We will see you the next time we meet.